Hello, you beautiful individuals. Today, I'm not going to do a gaming video. I actually have one that's recorded. I just need to upload it. I made it on Friday. It's like a free game Friday stupid thing. Because, no one's ever done that before. Very unique, I know. But no, I was just showing off three free games on Steam. And two of them were decent, and one was supposed to be kind of ridiculous. And that's how it came out. But literally right after I finished recording it and was going to upload it, our power went out. So I couldn't do that. And I was super busy yesterday and also quite busy today. So I'm just going to make a quick video discussing and looking at and reacting Bill Nye and Ken Ham's tour of the Ark Encounter. It's essentially a building that's like almost like a theme park for super religious people. No, it's essentially he tried to make the ark as close as realistic as possible. Obviously, it's a building. It's not a boat. It's not meant to float. Blah blah blah. And that's this man right here, Ken Ham. He is an Australian, I believe. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm not the greatest with accents. He is a young Earth creationist, even though I don't know if he says it here, but he said it in some other videos I've watched of his that he doesn't like being called a young Earth creationist because of reasons that don't really make sense. Now listen, I'm not a big fan of doing the religious stuff because I don't have an issue with people's religion. I mean, when I was younger, I went to church and all that stuff too. Like I'm fine with you being religious, believing in a god or a number of gods or the universe is a god. Like, I don't care. Believe whatever you want. But do not claim that somehow what we observe, what our scientists work countless hours and have done so for millennia to help explain our place in this universe, our place in existence. Like, I understand that he thinks he's doing the same thing by taking the Bible far too literally and claiming he says the world's only 6,000 years old, Noah's flood was for sure a thing, and all this stuff. And the thing is, like, that's just, for one, there's no evidence for a worldwide flood. There just isn't. That being said, that's not to say that there wasn't some major flood where whoever wrote the Bible was and wrote it down. And it's not even saying that somebody didn't build a boat and try to save some animals. And his name was Noah. That could have been a thing. I don't know. Nor do I really care. But it's definitely not 6,000 years old. And he definitely didn't build a bigger boat than like anyone throughout history has been able to build, essentially. It's just, it's ridiculous. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, we're going to check this out. We're not going to watch the whole thing, because as you can see, it's like 2 hours long. We're going to skip ahead through a lot of it and just get to some of the points that I think are most ridiculous. But first, we'll listen to his little intro here, and I know, I'm sorry, it's kind of painful. I'm going to try to not stop throughout the intro and just let him talk and then react at the end. I'll try my best. Anyway, here we go.
Well, I'm Ken Ham, president of Answers in Genesis, the Creation Museum, and the Ark Encounter. And tonight we're live streaming for you a 2-hour walk through the life-size Ark with myself and Bill Nye. Before the Ark Encounter was opened in 2016, I publicly invited Bill Nye to come and visit the Ark Encounter, and I told him I would give him a personal tour. Well, he took us up on that, but he said he would come with his video crew. So we said, okay, we know what you want to do. You want to get excerpts for a documentary that you're actually producing and your Netflix series. So that's okay, as long as we can have our video crew there. And he agreed to that. And so we had 2 video crews follow us around. We started on the 3rd deck, which is where he wanted to start, because he wanted to immediately talk about climate change. And then we walked through.
Okay, for one, the main reason that you'll see, at least I hope you can interpret it as I have, seems to be one to start on the 3rd floor, because that's where a lot of their teaching exhibits are, where they teach children. And yeah, he wanted to talk about climate change. Do you know why? Because it's destroying our planet. Like, understand, once again, I don't care what religion you believe or don't believe. I don't care if what side politically you're on. I don't care where you're from. I don't care who you bang in the bedroom or any of that. I don't care what you consider yourself gender wise. None of that matters. Okay? Like, it's all people are people. We're all different. And yeah, we all are just trying to fit in to this crazy place we call world. And we do the best we can. And science helps us do that. And climate change is a serious thing. And this is the reason I'm making this video because, like I said, I don't care about the religious part of this. I don't care that this moron believes the earth is only 6,000 years old. I do care that he teaches that to children. That's annoying. But regardless, climate change is serious. And climate change is going to wipe us out if we don't figure something out. So, yeah, he is a big proponent in, oh, yes, climate change is real. We can observe the climate changing. It's changed. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing or human caused. There's plenty of scientists who don't believe that. For one, there's not plenty. There are some, obviously. But well over 90 to whatever percent believes that it's a serious thing and has a crap ton of evidence to show that. Anyway, I'm sorry I stopped him. I tried not to, but let's finish it.
Through all 3 decks, and we had a group of people. There were a number of people there that day, and young people, quite a large number of young people actually, that followed us through the 3 decks. And so as we go through, you'll hear Bill Nye say all sorts of interesting things, and I challenge him, and we have this back and forward. We go head to head. It was cordial, but it was lively. I was able to present the gospel to him, but we want you to see the uncut video where I walk through the Ark with Bill Nye. And this happened on July 8th, the day after the Ark Encounter was opened.
Okay, it doesn't matter. So, we're done with his intro. We'll skip ahead a bit. But 1 second. Yes, you want to show your uncut video, but it makes you look even dumber. Like, the first one I seen of this was an edited down version. I don't remember the channel name. Atheism is awesome or something, or amazing. It's something like that. It doesn't have many subscribers or all that many views, but it was just like 20 or so minutes long. And I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. Interesting video. Like, this guy's a moron, whatever. And then this came out on their channel, which, by the way, I will link their channel, but if you go over there and watch, just please take it with a grain of salt. I mean, believe in God, have your community, do all that. That's fine. But don't believe the world is 6,000 years old. It's not. That's just mind-bogglingly crazy. Anyway, we're going to skip ahead a bit. Basically, this whole video is just him. And he likes to say he challenges him. He really doesn't. Like, he just keeps asking the same questions. And so many of them are typical Christian apologist, like, Kent Hovind level nonsense. Just repeating the same thing over and over again. And yeah, Bill Nye does too, but usually it's just in reply to his repeating himself. It's really funny too, because this guy, like, the whole time, especially as it goes on, he just looks more and more like a hurt little child. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hysterical. The best part is at the very end, he does one of these, like an outro, I guess, where it's just him. We'll just wait till we get there. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and skip ahead a bit. Okay, so I was planning on scrolling much farther ahead, but this part's pretty funny. Essentially, this is, I guess, right before they go in, and they're just kind of discussing what they want to do and how they're going to do it. And Ken Ham, like, this is his building, okay? I don't know what he is exactly, the CEO or founder or what of Answers in Genesis, and, obviously they have some other companies and stuff that they put stuff through. But he's clearly a leader of some kind, in leader role. And he just lets these people, like, okay, just watch, sorry.
Just walk up into the
first deck and just walk you up to the third deck.
Okay.
So then you get to see all the exhibits and all the way up and just give you...
One by one going up?
Yep.
Okay. Would it be okay if we started on the third and went down to the first?
Well, we could do, but it's sort of in order if you go 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So up to Bill. You want to do 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
And the thing is, I think we're going to do a sit down afterwards.
Where is the sit down?
In the third deck.
I'm honestly fine with anything. Okay. We really want to do the
Yeah,
third.
you guys scoped it out.
Oh, you want to fix it? Go for it.
Do you mind if we go to the third first?
Well, we could do. It's just that we've got to come down and come all the way back up, that's all. It's just...
Can we take the elevator back up to get up to the third after good? Because we were, Jason and I got a chance to look through, and we loved the top floor exhibits the most. And there's even an exhibit with Bill. So we thought that we could start up there. At least. Is that all right?
So you want to go 3?
So real quick, if you see, like, watch Ken Ham talk, because he's not great at hiding body language. He constantly covers his, well, you know, gentleman bits. And that's a common move when you're feeling like defensive or small. You know, it's something that more obviously men do, but women as well. It's just usually they'll cross their arms, and they might do that as well, but obviously, but it's, you know, more common in one or the other. But it's just funny to see, because he's just like, he's just so not, he's so confident about the age of the earth and the nonsense like that, but when it comes to like telling this guy, like, this is your building, this is your tour, you decide where you start. Like, he's just some camera dude, and it's just hilarious to me. But anyway,
3, 2, 1.
That's okay.
Okay.
Man, this lighting is so insane. But we want this hidden.
Did you get that on sound?
and see, if you heard that, like, for one, the guy quickly changed the subject after he got his approval to start on the third floor, because Ken Ham folded like the little man-child he is. And then look at that smile. I mean, just ecstatic, because he's like, oh, I got these guys, I recorded them, I got them, making them look like jerks or something. You know, he's just, I don't know, this guy's something else. But anyway, let's skip ahead just a tad real quick, and I promise after this I will skip ahead to something a little more significant. It's just, I like this joke that it's not like that great of a joke, but it's just, it shows how Ken Ham is just not set up for confrontation and for discussing this kind of stuff. Like, you know, he says something about the lightning, Bill Nye makes a little snide joke or whatever, it's kind of nice little chuckle, and then he just gets awkward.
Okay.
Well, that was a nice cracker. Oh, I can see the light. I looked on the radar. Once this goes through, there's nothing behind it. That was especially for you, Bill.
Ha ha ha.
That was me. I get behind on my emails sometimes.
And see, you know, Saul's little joke, like just saying, like making the joke that God normally emails him, but he got behind. It's stupid, but whatever. And then now you see covering himself once again and having a horribly awkward smile, and then he says this.
I'm way behind this week in my emails.
And awkward silence, because what? Like, it wasn't a joke, it was just like, oh, I'm way behind this week in my emails. It's, what? Anyway, I don't know. The dude just kills me. He's just so bad at this. Like, at least Kent Hovind, who is, I mean, properly nuts, absolute lunatic, obviously, and a con man, and just does it for the money, much like this man does, but he, you know, is even more holier than thou. But at least Kent Hovind truly is just behind what he says, and is overly confident, and is truly, I will give it to him, he is a presenter. Like, he is an entertaining human. I don't like his content, and I don't agree with what he says, but at the end of the day, he's still an entertainer, and that works. That's just like Bill Nye. Like, yes, Bill Nye is a very qualified engineer of some kind, scientist, and whatever in general. Like, very smart person, a educator. Maybe he didn't I don't know if he ever actually taught, but you know, he made all the Bill Nye the Science Guy stuff and like that. But at the end of the day, the reason all that was so good is because he's a fantastic entertainer. He's very charismatic. You know, he's good with people. And Ken Ham, as you will see as this goes on, is not. But anyway, let's keep watching. Let me skip ahead a little farther this time, I promise. Okay, so not that much farther ahead, but this next part's pretty funny. It's just one of another ridiculous claim he makes. So
Is generated by the flood.
when he says generated by the flood, he is obviously and unfortunately talking about the Ice Age, which he claims there was only one about 4,000 years ago after the flood, which was about 4,000 years ago, I guess. And there's just so much wrong with that. Like, I don't even know where to begin. And let me say too, I'm not intelligent. I'm not educated. I'm not a scientist or anything. Just an idiot, basically. But this guy makes me look like a genius. I mean, it's unbelievable. How do you look at not only the evidence, but they spent over $100 million building this Ark Encounter thing. You have that much money at your disposal, and you're telling me you can't come up with any better research. You can't figure out that the world is not 6,000 years old. That's so young. We have written records older than that. We have written records well over 4,000 years old, and that's why wouldn't it all be destroyed? If there was a worldwide flood, where would you get any of it? Why? There's trees that are older than this. There are obviously everything else, rocks and the earth itself, and there are stars that are farther than 6,000 light years away. A crap ton of them. Billions of them. I don't know how many. A lot. And that light would at least need 6,000 years just to get to us, just to be visible to us. So how? How is it possible? Oh yeah, God did it. That's pretty much his answer for anything. Let's skip ahead again. Alright, so this is a great part. This is essentially Bill Nye explaining how science works. You know, just explaining that the main premise is that things will always change, that we will always discover something new that either showed what we thought to be true isn't true completely, or maybe it even isn't true at all. And that's fine. That's how science works. But anyway, just watch real quick.
There are things that I accept as true that are not.
That are not true.
Yeah. And that doesn't bother me. That excites me.
What? How?
We're going to make discoveries.
But how does it not bother you that things you believe you know are not true?
Because we have a process by finding out the truth. When I was a kid, I am so...
making it so difficult.
No, but let me give it...
No. Yes, science is difficult, obviously, but that's the point. Your worldview, you follow after a book that, for one, we have other religious text and just text written down information in general that is older than this book. But at the end of the day, you follow a book that has been misinterpreted, mistranslated countless times over millennia. And yet, you just think like, oh, yeah, let's follow this book literally. Why not?
No, it's... In other words, to me, what you have is this simplistic worldview that is inconsistent with everything we observe.
See, right there is perfect. A simplistic worldview which is inconsistent with everything we observe. It's the same way with like flat earthers. Like, their worldview is just so simplistic. They're like, oh, I look outside and it looks flat. Must be flat. Instead of, oh, let's test it. Let's go figure out if it is. Let's leave this planet and look at it from an outside perspective, which we've obviously done. Guess what? Not flat. Weird.
That's what I find troubling. But hang on, let me give you this one thought, you guys. We find Martian meteorites on the Earth because Mars was hit with an impactor right around 3 billion years ago.
Oh, stop right there for a minute.
Stuff fell into space.
Wait a minute. How do you know 3 billion years
So
ago?
let's just
Because, we do science and have evidence, Mr. Ham.
say it is,
Okay.
for now.
All right.
The same way we say there was a flood 6,000 years ago.
Oh, no,
based
it
on-
wasn't 6.
See, that's the best part. Like, for one, of course, Kenneth over here is going to go, oh, no, it wasn't 6,000, it was 4,000 years ago. And, we got the Book of God. And the thing is, even if it is the Word of God, which I don't know how you can, you're just trusting this book, it wasn't written by him. It was written by humans. So even if God was talking to him on the phone, going, hey, write this down, you're still playing a game of telephone. Things are going to get messed up. So until God writes it and says, by God, and he hands it to me, sorry. I'm not going to really trust your book that much. I'm not even saying that there isn't a God. I don't know. I have not met one, so I don't know if there is. But I obviously don't have any evidence to say there's necessarily not. I mean, there's evidence that shows, how old the Earth is, how old roughly the universe is, where it originated from. We don't know what started it or what was there beforehand. Could have been a god. I don't know. Regardless, it has nothing to do with what's in your nonsense book. That's for sure.
6,000 years ago, it's 4,000.
Okay,
But I have a
okay.
basis.
So,
that
all
I
that
have-
aside-
I have a historical record.
All that aside,
Do you have a historic?
You don't have a historical record. You have a book of poetry, essentially, that attempts to explain the world but does a horrendous job at doing it.
yes, we do. So you look at this meteorite,
What is your
and
historical
you
record?
find evidence of the Martian atmosphere, the little bubbles in the rock. You find these shock patterns, and you find the minerals from Mars. So it is not crazy. It's extraordinary, but not crazy to suggest that Mars was hit with an impactor through what's generally called a Hohmann orbit, an orbit where it falls toward the sun but ends up on the Earth. You and I are descendants of Martians.
Now understand when he says that. Obviously, like he said, it's extraordinary but not crazy. Meaning it's possible but not probable. It could have been what happened. We don't know. That's his point, that we have, we're hoping to go be able to test this theory, and one of two things will happen. Either he's right, and when Mars got hit by some kind of, catastrophic meteor, pieces of it fell down here with organic material on it and started life down here. Easily possible. It's also easily possible that there was intelligent life there. They sent as many as they could here, and obviously with very little technology, and did the best they could. And this was so long ago, it died off and got lost in history. And yes, that's crazy. Or, I mean, it's not crazy, I guess I should say. It's extraordinary. It's very unlikely, but it's not crazy. It's technically possible. It's more possible than a supernatural sky daddy that made everything in 6 or 7 days, whatever he claims. And I wish Bill Nye wouldn't have said that. I get why he did, but I just wish he wouldn't have, because, I mean, just look at Mr. Ham's face. Look at Kenneth there. If you do watch this video, the one thing you'll see throughout all of it, don't look at the comments, because they just claim the opposite somehow, that Kenneth there interrupts him constantly. And it's because he's not listening. He's just thinking of what to say next. He's thinking of what to explain next, or attempt to. Where Mr. Nye, Bill there, when Kenneth is talking, Bill is actually listening. And yes, he might interrupt him for one reason or another, of course, but it's nowhere near as much. And he actually responds to what he says, to where Kenneth there just quotes more scripture and, gives more nonsense theories.
Okay,
That
and
is
that's
not crazy.
And that's not crazy. Is it crazy that you and I are descendants of Adam and Eve?
We are descendants from a common ancestor.
See, he almost even gave you that. He's not going to call it Adam and Eve, obviously, but he's trying, man. But guess what? It wasn't 6,000 years ago. Because that's not how evolution works. That's not how anything works. You effing moron.
But is it crazy that God made the first man and woman and we're descendants of them?
For me, there's no evidence of that.
So is that crazy?
But
I wouldn't use that word.
What would you say?
It's you're betraying your
Oh my
intellect.
God.
You're not using your head.
So you're saying it is crazy?
I've seen this video before, and it still makes me angry. Like, that's all he wants to do this whole time. He doesn't want to teach Bill scripture. He doesn't want to change his worldview. All he wants to do is spew out the same Christian apologist arguments in his narrative and reply to what he's saying. Answer his questions that he asks. Alright, so this part, Bill makes a little joke, well, Mr. Ham, you should sell my book, because he has a bunch of books up here. Obviously, like he said in the beginning, he had people go and, check the place out. Obviously, he wanted to come to this exhibit. I get it. Just listen to what this exhibit is from Mr. Kenneth Ham himself.
Why don't you sell my book at your store?
Oh, these books we aren't selling. We're warning people about these books because they picture Noah's Ark as a bathtub, which it wasn't. It was like this big ship that you're in.
Made of concrete and not seaworthy.
That laugh. Oh, he's just so like, Oh man, this guy. So my thing is though, it's like you're mad at these books because they misinterpret Noah's Ark or whatever. They picture it wrong. But for one, they're all, not all, I guess. Like, you didn't see every single one, but a lot of them look like kids' books. And that's what kids' books do. Like, it's what cartoons do. They exaggerate or even under-exaggerate things, but it's not meant to be realistic. And if you really want to get down to it, like, you're misrepresenting his ark now with your concrete one. Alright, so this part, I'll just listen to it.
And there could have been all sorts of technology that was developed by them.
So, hi, you guys.
See, what we're trying to do,
So
is to be able to,
is it-
is
are
to be able to
you-
help mums and dads be able to teach their children that they're made in the image of God, there's purpose and meaning in life, that God's Son stepped into history to die on the cross, be raised from the dead.
And blah, 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 more religious stuff. See, all that's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with teaching that. I don't know why you need to spend over $100 million on a boat that doesn't float when you could do all that in church. But regardless, whatever. That's fine. But that's not all you're doing. You're teaching people that the world is only 6,000 years old. That climate change is, might not be a big deal. Don't worry about it. That's not okay. And once again, you see there how Bill and I started talking first. He was saying, so, and he was pointing towards the exhibit. He was going to ask about it. Boom, Mr. Kenneth here, who wasn't listening, of course, just waiting for his next thing to say, just started talking right over him. And you'll see so many comments about Bill Nye interrupting Mr. Kenneth, when it definitely went at least both ways to be as fair as possible. Alright, so this part, like, he does this so much throughout this tour. He just keeps trying to go, well, at least you must admit, just say one thing positive. This is a really nice building, right? These are really nice exhibits, right? And just watch.
Oh, he's quite a craftsman. And there were ancient dinosaurs.
You must admit, okay, how about saying something?
And right there, he was trying to ask a question about the ancient dinosaurs, because yes, Mr. Kenneth here has dinosaurs. Yeah, he's claiming there were dinosaurs on the Ark, because the only way it fits with his 6,000-year-old Earth. And I can't, like, I was actually gonna show that part, but the stupidity, it hurts my brain so much that when I watched it again, I actually passed out for a few hours. It's that bad. So if you do watch this, just watch with caution. You will lose IQ points.
Positive for me. You must admit, these are quite exquisite exhibits, right?
They're very troubling.
And that's just one that, like, usually he says something like, yeah, they're okay. And it kills me, because, like, just look at the anger on it. Look at that anger on his face. Like, he gets so angry throughout this thing is hilarious, and he holds it together pretty decently for the most part, but not the greatest. All right, so this part, they're talking. They've went over this a few times, basically throughout the thing. It's just that Mr. Ham believes in observational and historical science. He separates them for some reason, even though the entirety of his belief system is historical science. But anyway, he likes to claim it's only historical science when it fits him. Like, if it's something you believe in that basically proves the Bible wrong in any way, shape, or form, even though it shouldn't be taken literally, obviously, then he immediately calls it historical science and goes, "Whoa, you couldn't have been there to see it." But then he'll turn around and talk about all this stuff that, like, it for sure happened, even though, once again, you couldn't have been there to see it. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, okay, let's go with this. Does he believe that Lincoln was shot? And let's not get into who he was shot by or whatever. That doesn't matter. I don't care. But, like, we know Abraham Lincoln was shot. That happened. I mean, plenty of, eyewitness accounts, plenty of written records, all that. But that's perfectly fine. No one was alive for it. No one's alive today that was alive for it. So that it's only historical science, as he calls it. But yet he's perfectly fine accepting that. He's perfectly fine accepting the word of the Bible. But then other written records that we say are older than, like, the Bible, like that kind of stuff, that doesn't count for some reason. And it doesn't have to be written records, as he loves to say. There's no labels on the rock that says how old I am in English, even though English is a relatively newer language, so why would it be? And, obviously Mr. Nye there likes to talk about how, well, there basically is. You can count the neutrons and the oxygen atoms, all the radiocarbon dating, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not a scientist. I don't know the specifics. There's a lot of ways they figure it out. And he's saying how those are basically labels, but that's not okay. Like, that doesn't work. It's just, I don't know, it's mind-boggling. Like, the one point they talk about tree rings, and he goes, well, I've seen trees that grow more than one ring a year. And yeah, I'm sure you do. Like, that happens. But guess what? We know when it doesn't. They've looked at a crap ton of trees, probably millions upon millions of trees. You can do it yourself. You can. There are. I'm not gonna say exactly where I live, but I live in, I guess it's called the Midwest, even though it doesn't really make sense because I live in Ohio. Okay, crap state. But anyway, we got a lot of pine trees up here. A lot of tree farms for Christmas. You can watch these trees grow from little baby trees to big trees. You can count the years that it's been alive. You can match it up with the rings. You can do that with a bunch of different trees. And by doing that, you can then take a tree that's extremely old and count them rings. And he goes, "Wow, you didn't see the rings form." It's like, he's so ignorant. It's mind-blowing that people allow him to even leave the house, let alone run this, I don't know what it is, business, this amusement park. Like, anyway, let's watch this next part here.
Right now.
No, you can't prove it. But you know what? If I'm in the present, like I was this morning, and saw the sun, I watched it.
Good.
Did you see ape-like creatures turn into people?
No, it happened too long ago.
Okay.
And I wish he wouldn't have said no, because yes, we didn't see it, but we do. We have the fossil evidence. We have all the transitional species, maybe not literally all of them. There easily could be some we haven't found yet, but definitely enough to show that it happened. So, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Kenneth. Did you see God give his word to whoever wrote the Bible? Did you see God write the Bible? No. Absolute muppet. Alright, so this next part, just go ahead and see for yourself.
Let me ask you this question. If we're just an animal,
just an animal. What's better than being an animal?
Okay.
It's marvelous. As animals, we're able to understand the cosmos and our place within it. It's worth celebrating.
Okay,
What do you mean, just an animal?
And by the way, if you've made it this far into the video, which I doubt, but it's okay, and you believe the Earth is only 6,000 years old, or you believe we aren't animals, just please leave me a comment explaining why, because I would love to call you a moron.
So we came from animals, right? We're not
Yes.
we're not made in the image of God.
I don't know. I've never met him or her.
Okay. So
I've looked.
we actually have a zoo, and we have some animals in the zoo. Now, none of them wear clothes, and you do. Well, I'm pleased you do, by the way. I'm really pleased you do. None of them wear clothes. Why do humans wear clothes?
What do you mean? Of course, well, for one, yes, we've put clothes on animals, but of course animals don't wear clothes. Even though you could kind of argue that, really, because, I mean, realistically, there are animals, like, there's things that wear shells and that kind of stuff, and, I mean, you could really debate that. That's kind of a tough one to say. I don't like that, personally. That they don't wear clothes. But anyway, who cares about that? Because of course they don't wear clothes generally, and humans do. You know why? Because it's technology. Do animals drive cars? Do animals build stupid boat building things? Do animals get on Facebook, play with computers, play video games, use cell phones? No, generally not. You know why? Because they don't have that technology. You know what animals do have that technology on this planet? Humans. Crazy, right? Man, just so weird.
I brought my youth group back.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts. It's at the very end. I'm not going to show the whole thing, like show it actually, but basically he was taking selfies with people, and you just see him trying to get into these selfies. And it's so embarrassing. So please go just watch it for that alone. It's at the very end. But this part coming up is Ken Ham's stupid little outro thing. We'll try to make it through as much as I can.
Thank you. Just get a picture.
Carry on, you guys.
Do that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that 2 hours. It was rather grueling, and
Yeah, it was grueling, man. I mean, it was painful. I don't even know how many IQ points I've lost. Not that I had many to begin with, but you got rid of all of them. Thanks.
it was very exhausting, actually, as I walked through with Bill Nye. But what I wanted you
Exhausting for what? For you? What did you do? You just walked there and spewed scripture the whole time.
to really see was how I foundationally kept challenging him, pushing him to the consequences of his own foundation, of his own worldview.
No, you didn't. All you did was quote scripture and ask stupid questions over and over again, and then didn't answer his questions. I can't. Look, if you want to watch the rest of it, it'll be in the, description below, the link for it. Go ahead. If you comment on it, just don't be complete lunatics. But please do comment. At least tell him why he's wrong. And I mean that, like, civilly. Tell him why he's wrong, because he is. Man. Anyway. Thanks for watching. All that good stuff. I plan on posting... plan on posting this today. And I plan on posting 2 more tomorrow, video game ones. One is a Let's Play in Factorio. And the other one will be that 3 Free Game Friday. Then I guess now it'll be Sunday. I am going to try to do that every Friday, though. Other than that, I still am working on the raft one. I put so much time into it. It's not going to be worth it in the end. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, bell notification. Whatever else to appease the algorithm gods. And yeah. Until next time, peoples.